All information contained in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider your individual circumstances. You should consider the appropriateness of this information with regards to your individual objectives, financial situation, and needs. Welcome to Sharing More Than the Sheets, a podcast to help you and your partner make better financial and lifestyle decisions so that you can both focus on the things that you love. I'm your host, Michael Khouri, financial planner, green thumb, husband, and just dad. There are many different types of stress, and there is good stress, there's bad stress, and there are different ways of dealing with stress and different ways to identify stress. Today, I've invited Zoe Slater, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Freedom Choice Academy. She's a performance coach, she's a counsellor. This is what she does for a living, helping people with things like this. And I thought I'd have her on the show to talk about this. Zoe, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me, Michael. It's a pleasure to be talking about this because it's something that everyone experiences all day long in various aspects of their life. So I'm looking forward to unpacking and helping your listeners.
Oh, it's massive. And it's one of those things where I see it regularly. You, of course, see it regularly. And some deal with it really well. Some people they sort of enjoy stress. Some people don't. Some people don't even realize they're dealing with it. Before we get into that, can maybe for those that haven't come across, your work or what you do, can you just maybe give a little bit of a background about yourself and where you've come from, and also what has encouraged you, or probably not encouraged you, what's inspired you to focus on this area?
Yeah, I'm going to start with your last question. What's inspired me? Through my life experiences, one of the things that stood out was when I was very young, I would be talking to people and they would say, you know what, this is my issue, this is what's going on. They would be feeling the stress and they would articulate the answer with such clarity. And then they would go off into the experience and I'd catch up with them again. I go, so how did that go? And they went, oh no, I didn't do it. So they know what they need to do, but they don't follow through. And I go, what? How do we go through life when we know what we need to do, but we don't do it? What stops us? What inhibits us? What kind of stress goes through the body that either helps us perform or not perform? So I've been unpacking that, hence why I went and studied as a mature age student and really learnt the psychology and the emotional imprints that affect people in their early informative years and the experiences they have that creates an imprint of emotions that when they experience stress, perhaps let's say as an athlete, they go, hey, I can perform. But if they experience stress in a relationship, oh my God, I'm going to get in trouble. It can be, it's all contextual. So this is what I've been doing for over 25 years as a professional. But originally, conceived in business, I'm half Greek and half Czechoslovakian. And as my parents were new immigrants, we had all the businesses that you can imagine. So I've worked within the business. I've also worked outside the business as an employee. And so generational family business. And also we made a lot of money and we lost a lot of money. So I feel like I've done highs and lows and today I'm happily married with 3 kids and, family pets and, knowing the full circle of life and appreciation for what it takes to actually live a fulfilling life. But predominantly, when you look at life, it's all about how we handle stress.
And am I right in saying that there is good stress, there is bad stress, and how does somebody identify between the two different types? What are some real obvious points or things that would sort of stand out to someone to be like, okay, this isn't good stress. Like this, I need to sort of, I need to look at how things are being, what I'm doing at the moment, and I can't just ignore this anymore.
Yeah, good. I might start with good stress first because good stress, people who experience good stress, just get on with life. But when you talk about bad stress, that's sort of like it's a big conversation. There's lots more nuances to that. So if it's all right with you, I'm going to start with good stress. Is that cool?
Please.
Yeah, good. Okay, so some of the things that we see is that, people feel the whole need to fight, flight or freeze. And there's immediately the first chemicals that are released in your body is cortisol. We've got epinephrine and adrenaline, and it'll help you do one of those three things. The epinephrine that's released is such a powerful hormone, and what it does, Michael, it actually causes us to be alert, because that stress is designed to help us be successful. And in that alertness, we can hear things, we can see things. Like, it's all like in life, things slows down. Have you ever had a car accident?
Yes, and it wasn't fun.
No, it's not fun. But did you notice that when you're in the car accident that things slow down?
Yes, I think so.
Yes. Well,
When it was happening, I felt like they slowed down. Yes.
yes, well, that's the epinephrine. Your
Okay.
body has actually sped up. It feels like it's slowing down, but it's actually sped up. It's actually able to see all the nuances. Do I turn left? Do I turn right? How do I dodge this accident? How do I prepare my body? What can I hear? What can I see? All of your senses become alert through epinephrine. And the cortisol is just producing sugar inside your body so that you can run or fight or flight or freeze. It's interesting how the body designs is naturally going to help you be successful. And in those moments, you make those choices. But, and if I take it further, so it increases your focus, your alertness, it boosts your energy and motivation, excitement, anticipation. It helps you perform better, which is like that car accident incident I was just giving you as an example. It helps you perform under pressure better. And psychologically, it actually creates an imprint in your mind. Under this circumstance, you are being successful and you are thriving. These are the good parts of stress. It helps you rise. It helps you prepare for projects. It helps you prepare for, like some people might take on a project to build a house, let's say, and they're excited and they're thrilled. They go, and that's all the adrenaline running through them. That's all the clarity running through them. And they just keep moving forward. Some people, when they take on a new role, whether it be work or even in life, they might get married and they might be super excited about the new role that they have. So all these positive stresses can affect you in different areas of your life. Like it can affect you, let's say, professionally. If someone's going for a new role, they go, I love going for a new role. I'm excited for the interview. And yet some people would go, oh my God, I'm stressed out. I'm frightened. I want the job, but I won't interview well because they've had some negative experience. So I'm going to fly a little into some of those negative experiences, unless you've got some questions about the positive stuff that I was talking about.
No, no, not at all. I can relate to a lot of that, and to me, if anything, I feel like lack of that. It's sort of, to me anyway. I don't feel as motivated or as excited sometimes. So I feel like that's probably why it's called good stress. But it's good to have that positivity, and that extra, not positivity, but just that extra boost of energy, if that makes sense, or urgency, or just I can't think of the word right now, but just probably energy is probably the best way to explain it.
Yeah. And look, you know what? And when you say the energy and the urgency, depending on your life experience in the context that you're experiencing it, you might, rather than interpret it as excitement, you might interpret it as fear because it's making you feel a bit sick or a bit nauseous. Like, when someone wants to get on stage, what the body's actually doing is, like, people go, oh, you know what? I need to go to the toilet. Because what the body is actually doing is eliminating extra weight, moving to the bathroom, because it's preparing you to fight or flight.
Yes.
And it's dropping everything out of your body. And what the worst thing is about, I think one of the things that I do see people do is, because cortisol creates sugar in the body, that with that stress, is rather than letting it run through the body and naturally and go through the course of running out of their body, they will put extra sugar in by perhaps eating some donuts or having coffee with extra sugar. Or so the body's producing sugar. The outside, they're putting sugar in through their mouth, and then they wonder why they're actually putting on weight and being unwell.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to go into a little bit of the bad stresses. And because I think it's really important that we, like I was saying, how we can associate stress being good or bad, and sometimes we're not sure. But some of the bad stresses in life and interrupt me anytime if I say something. Go, hey, give me some more clarity on this. Please do that.
Yes.
Some of the signs and symptoms of bad stress is that, and I like to kind of call it more like what we would call in our profession, we call it prolonged stress, because the first part of stress is to help you survive and thrive. But what I see mostly a lot of people do is sit on the stress and then turn it into prolonged stress. So let's say really they should have maybe quit a job because it wasn't working for them, or they've stayed in a relationship that's not working for them, and it's caused prolonged stress. And then we start to see all these signs and all these symptoms in their body, and they become irritable or anxious. Like, let's say you might be having issues at home, but you bring your issues at work, and at work you're a bit snappy and you're not thoughtful, and you really want to just withdraw from everybody. And those stresses can be misinterpreted as work stress, whether they are really home stresses in a relationship. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And I think we see that a lot. Like, we'll talk to someone and some of us will just assume that person's probably just, sometimes you can tell when something's going on in their personal life.
Yep.
And maybe they don't even realize, or sometimes, it's just, it's not obvious, and somebody will assume it's related to their work, but really it's their home or their relationship.
Yep, totally. So the pressures can come from home. They can be from their relationship. It can be from generally home issues do sit in the emotional aspect of their world, and how they're not handling it, how they're not speaking up. And sometimes it can be surprising. Sometimes somebody at work can be really powerful at work, but go home and they lose their personal power. And, how we see it play out in life, how it affects their wellness. We can often start to see it as being chronic fatigue. We see it, people can be quite, combative. They can want to have an argument with a lot of people, whether it's at work or home. They can create conflicts. It can be a whole bunch of things when we allow stress to continue. And again, as I said, it becomes prolonged stress. And then what happens is people don't realize, is it work? Is it home? Is it, maybe I'm just not fit, I'm not exercising, maybe I just not having enough sleep. What are all these issues that are going on? And it can really build up, and they can get quite confused about what's the real cause of the issue, what we would refer to as a comorbid situation. But on a deeper level, all that stress can create a lot of toxicity within their body. And you can see them actually coming up with what we can often refer to as invisible illnesses. They can go to a doctor and go, hey, I'm really sick. The doctor can do all the tests and nothing can show up. And I go, well, why am I feeling this way?
The thing I'm just thinking is, like, when it comes to somebody dealing with, and I know every situation is different, so it's so hard to have a black and white, cookie cutter solution to this. But if somebody is dealing with stress, how do they identify whether it's work-related, home-related? Because, someone could be having relationship issues and they're just assuming that it's related to their personal life, and that's why they're stressed at work. Or the other side, it just could be that their work has always been really stressful, but they've never realized up until now because they've had other things pile onto their plate as well. Mm-hmm. To me, my first point of call would be to talk to someone like yourself, for example, or somebody that knows what they're doing, and that person can help you unpack these things. But if I was to put your lens on and, picture someone coming to you saying, like, I'm feeling really stressed, and you said, why? And they say, oh, work this, life this, personal life this, relationship this, my boss, my employees, whatever it may be. What type of questions would you ask to unpack that? Because I feel like someone listening to this can probably ask themselves those same questions as well, and probably benefit from that type of discussion.
Yeah, I would get them to sit quietly with what is it, when do they feel most anxious, and what causes, and in that anxiety, like some people might feel, they feel really sick, unwell. The thought of going to work can make them feel like they don't want to go to work. They don't want to get in the car. They don't want to pick up the keys. Sometimes I've had clients that they feel like they want to vomit. They can get brain fog with those sense of it's a work issue. The moment they think of that particular perhaps colleague or boss, And I've actually had people go, you know what, I love my team, I love the work that I do, but because of my direct boss, I want to resign. They want to quit. And so they're really clear indicators that that's what that would be. It's just about sitting with the question, what is it that's making you feel anxious? What is it that's making you have a physical response that you don't want to go to work? What is it that's making your mind want to shut down and recoil? What's making you want to either stay home and not go to work? And what part of the work is actually distressing you? Is it because it can be an aspect of your work that's distressing you. And if it's an aspect of your work, you want to get really clear on that. So this way you can speak to your employer and ask them, well, you know, hey, look, you know, this part I'm not doing well. Is there a way that I can either get some training or that we can pass on to another colleague that can handle it and do it better, you know? And then when it's at home, it's if you're feeling like, you know, you're dodging conversations with your partner, if you're not wanting to tell them how you feel, if you're feeling shut down, if you're feeling not heard, if you're feeling not respectful, they're all going to cause you stress. You're going to feel like your opinion doesn't count. Stress is in every aspect of our life. It could even be like if I was to go through my model, you know, physical stress in a relationship can be that you might not feel physically well. You may not want to, you know, people have a lot of weight issues right now and they don't want to really show their partner how they look physically. You know, that would be a concern emotionally if people are going, you know, I don't want to talk about this topic. Every time we talk about this topic, we argue. Well, that means there's an issue. You need to talk about that. So those are the things that we need to unpack in therapy. And often I have people say, well, I'm dating the same person. I'm dating, or if not dating the same person, they could say the same about the job. I changed jobs and now I found myself with the same boss, the same toxic person who is their superior. And so the deeper question at another layer, if they're repeating a pattern, Michael, then that pattern is definitely in their psyche and it's in their belief about who they are, what they deserve or what they don't deserve, what a sense of even worthiness or deservedness. It goes to a very deep psychological, emotional imprint level.
These podcasts have been brought to you by Better Financial Planning Australia. To book a free 15-minute phone chat, visit betterfinancialplanning.com.au. And when it comes to dealing with stress, what are some things that someone should do? Because I think most people's initial reaction, I don't want to say that because people's initial reaction isn't usually logical, what we all do, you know, rational, I should say, you know, like when we're stressed or feeling really angry or upset about something. But my initial thoughts is that they would talk to someone. My other thoughts is they'd probably go for a walk or something like that. But can you maybe just outline some of the obvious and maybe some of the not so obvious things that someone can do if they're feeling stressed? If they're, let's assuming it's bad stress, of course, and they've differentiated the type of stress. They've worked out, okay, this is not good, this is not healthy. What are the steps? Because when you're in that, it's very obvious for someone listening to this, like, oh, it's easy. You just get yourself out of the situation, talk to someone, go for a walk, go for a run, you know, look after yourself, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But when you're in that situation, it's not that straightforward. It's not that simple and it's not that clear.
It's not. And depending on how stressful you are, whether you're feeling anxious, like when some people feel stressed, they literally blank out and they don't know what to say or what to do. And in that moment, first thing I would say to them is take a breath, because a lot of people, when they feel stress, actually stop breathing. And or they'll breathe at the top of their chest and hyper breathe. They'll start to and breathe too much where they feel like they're going to faint. So the first thing I'd say is take a breath. And then if they feel like they can't speak, is definitely remove themselves before they do something rash. Is remove themselves, but articulate it if they can, is to say to the person or particularly if they're stressed with somebody, is to say, if it was you and me, Michael, I'd say, look, just excuse me a minute, Michael, I just need to remove myself from this space and just have a think about what we've been talking about. And I'm just going to go for a walk. And then the best thing to do following that is just say, I would say to you, say, okay, Michael, let's talk about this tomorrow, or let's talk about this in 2 hours. The worst thing somebody can do is walk away without a structure to resume the conversation or to resume the conflict or to, avoid the situation. It's in the avoidance that the situation will continue to escalate, because the other person will be wondering, well, when are we going to finish this discussion or this argument or, complete this project? And so what it causes is environmental stress as well. So that person will start to behave avoidant. So I would do that, go for a walk. Some of the things you can do is play your most favourite music that's either going to relax you or hype you up and dance it out, in a positive way. I would definitely have a glass of water, because in that stressful moment, your body has been moving at such a fast pace, you're going to start to feel dehydrated. And a lot of people don't even know, you can hear it in their mouth when they start to get that tacky tongue. You can hear it. So have some water, stay away from alcohol. It's the easiest go-to thing, but it's the worst thing for you at that point in time. And people go, oh, it's just taken the edge off. Now I'm relaxing. But then next time they need the edge off, they'll have another glass, and they'll need more glasses of whatever it is that they're drinking. So stay away from alcohol. Sunshine is fabulous. Sunshine is a natural antidepressant. So being outside, going for a walk, going to nature, and just hyper focus on something. Look at a leaf on a tree and then see all of the leaves, count how many leaves are there, but just look at, and it's about, shifting your mindset away from the issue. But then when that's done, is still making a promise to yourself, okay, what is it that I need to address here? The biggest thing is that you have to go back, and I think that's, for me, probably the bigger message is, one, to tips to de-stress, but the other tip is to go back into that situation and take mastery over that situation. Otherwise, you become an avoidant person, a runner, and you'll have a series of issues that you haven't addressed, and you wonder why your life is so stressful, or you've become unwell.
Yeah, wow.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And they're very practical tips. To be honest with you, my favorite is probably the counting the leaves on the tree, but just getting your mind off things. I'd probably emphasize the whole talking about it thing. Like, everyone's different, don't get me wrong. And I'd love to know your take on this, but I like to talk about things. Talking about things makes me feel better. I'm assuming some people talking about it would probably stress them out even more. But then again, my thought process is, if they don't talk about it, they're probably just bottling it up inside them as well.
Absolutely. Talking about it is key. And often and there's a difference between talking about it between women and men, because women will tend to seek out other women to talk to about, and men tend to not. And that's why, sadly, we see men jump from feeling a little stressed to suicide so quickly, whereas women will sit in the feeling of anxiousness a lot more and will seek out help. But bottom line, talking about it is key. And it's not about ruminating in the head. How many people, men again predominantly, will go, oh, I've been thinking about it for days and weeks. I go, no, I don't want you to think about it. I want you to talk to somebody. It's in the conversation that you have with like a professional like myself. You get to hear what you're saying out loud, and in reflection you go, wow, have I been thinking that? Is that they're really my thoughts? And you get to observe them, and we get to unpack them in a safe environment that's completely confidential. And one of the things that by having a confidential conversation is, as you unpack the layers, people go deeper and deeper and deeper into their psyche, and suddenly they realize, like, wow, I've had this thought or this belief for more than just a couple of weeks. It's actually been 6 months or 6 years or 30 years. And then they start to see the pattern in their life and go, wow, actually, I can see how this pattern has continued to have a positive effect or a negative effect at their life. And when we go into it even deeper, they go, wow, for some people, they go, geez, right before the finish line, they sabotage their success. And then they start to see a greater pattern. They go, well, now I get to see why my life is the way it is and at what point. And they also get to see how unpack the confusion, why they feel successful, perhaps professionally, and not successful personally. Because often a lot of people go, well, hang on, I'm a successful person. I have a really smart brain. Why am I not successful in this area? And it really can cause a lot of distress and shame, embarrassment about not having success in another area when they're extremely successful in another part of their life. And for us to unpack it in a safe way that they can then gain personal power and personal mastery in the understanding, and often go a lot deeper. And sometimes it means shedding a few tears, in the process. And again, even in shedding the tears, I get to understand even at a visceral level how those stresses have played out. It's incredibly powerful. So I'm seeing a lot more people now, Michael, and professional people seek coaching/counselling. So they can often feel like they hit a performance ceiling where they just can't crack it because it's a belief that's like a success blocker in their mindset. They're feeling a sense of, they know that they can do more and want to be more and want to have more so they can even give more. And they're addressing the issues. I feel like as a society, and I'm really glad we're having this conversation because I feel like as a society, we're more aware, we're wanting to be more conscious, we're wanting to have more fulfillment, we're wanting to have it all in all areas of our life. And it's possible because, what you want, Michael, and your listeners are different to what I want, right? And there's a way to have it all, but it is about looking at ourselves. It is about personal development. It is about unpacking how we are. And, and I hear people say, well, this is just who I am. And it's actually, no, this is who the environment, sorry, let me rephrase that. This is how you've responded to the environment. This is how you've gone and survived through the environment. But if your old patterns and old behaviors and old beliefs are no longer getting you the results that you're seeking, that's when you really know you need to talk to somebody.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense because what do we do as humans? Unless or until we work out that there's something we need to work on, we usually tend to blame those around us. And those around us obviously may be having an impact on why we're feeling that way. Don't get me wrong, but we instantly, I feel anyway, that a lot of we instantly blame those around us and only them. And we feel like, okay, I can't control this. I can't get out of the situation. I can't improve the situation. It's all what I'm trying to say is they assume that the power is in the other person to make them feel better. They assume that no matter what they do, they can't improve their situation. They just have to wait for the other person to allow them to feel better or not feel stressed, without sort of realizing that A, it may have nothing to do with the other person, and B, if it does, there are things that you can do. You can't, instead of just sitting there and waiting for it to be over.
Absolutely. You have control over your mind and you have control how much control they have over you. And
Yes.
It's an absolute illusion because, whilst you sit in blame, the reality is you're remaining as a victim.
Yep.
And I know it's hard to hear that. People go, no, that's not me. I'm not doing that. But when we sit in blame, the other person has more power. You're allowing yourself to be inferior and them superior. Whilst you sit in blame, it means that you don't have to change. They do. Whilst you sit in blame, you're actually experiencing the internal toxicity within your own body, which is all the adrenals are running like 24/7, which is why you're going to feel sick. And you get to justify why you haven't achieved stuff because you're sitting in blame. Well, if you hadn't done that, friend, boss, partner, whoever it was, I would be successful, So there are so many reasons when you stay in blame and blaming others. And the ultimate power is about you choosing to, one of the phrases that I tell my clients is to see people for who they are, not who you want them to be. And it's so important because it's like when you look at the crocodile's a crocodile. it's going to do what it's going to do. Don't expect it to be a fluffy pet that's going to sit on your lap.
Yep.
So it's expecting it to be different. And so if you approach the crocodile as a crocodile, then you are going to be okay.
No,
So
I love that.
it's the same as a friend. If you know that perhaps you've got a friend that you might be able to trust with your money, but not with your heart, then know them to be that. So if you give them your money, do that, but don't trust them with your heart, you know. How many times will people go, you know, I'll trust them with my dog, but I won't trust them with the key to the house, you know, because they, you know, so it's so important to look at people and the more you trust people for who they are, the more that you find internal self-love and more compassion for yourself and the other person starts to emerge. And that's when you can, and I see that particularly with family members, because families can really judge one another and speak their truth in a harsh way rather than a loving way. And so when you're able to see family members for who they are, whether it be your immediate family or your cousins, your uncles, your aunts, and again, extrapolating that out to your boss, you get to see the truth of the situation. And if you're willing to look even further, like we were talking about, because I do a lot of EAP stuff, right? Which means employment assisted programs. And what that means is counselling for staff. So there's some really progressive companies out there that support their staff with counselling because they know that if an employee has a really good mental health and wealth mindset, then they're going to turn up to work happier. They're going to be more engaged with the customers. The customers are going to be happier. And in turn, the business has long-term prosperity and everyone gets to work and be like a business family. So there's all these fabulous benefits about mindset. So where was I heading with that? I was heading with regard to taking accountability, because sometimes you can turn up to work. And I've had so many clients say this to me. They go, oh my God, my boss is like my mom or my dad or my sister, right? And when they say that, we slow right down and go, great. So, okay, so you're not going to blame your boss anymore. Do you realize it's actually your relationship with this person or your belief about somebody with this type of character that's actually affecting you? And they go, oh my goodness. It's been running for that long. I go, great. So let's take it away that work is the problem. Your emotions are the issue. And that's what we need to tidy up. And then we go in and we work in their mind and their heart and their spirit, depending on where the issue is. And we tidy that up. And then they go, oh my God, my boss looks so different now. I'm having fun at work again, because we've gone to the root cause of the issue. It's no longer blame on the external world. It's the internal responsibility and self-mastery over your emotions and your memory set. So, yeah.
Yeah, nice. I love that, Zoe. And I can tell you're so passionate about what you do. And can you maybe also tell us, those listening to this, if anybody wants to get in contact with you on a personal level, on a business level, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so if they want to reach out to me, I've got a website called Freedom Choice Academy. So they can go onto the website, have a look at the stuff that I do for businesses and personally for people privately, you know, because I also do breath work and ice baths and a whole bunch of really cool stuff. And my phone number, you know, happy to give that out, 0414 778 476. So if they want to reach out to me and call me directly, leave a message, I'll call you back as soon as I can within 24 hours and have a chat about whatever they are inquiring about, and whether it be personal or for a friend or, you know. And on that note, you know, I will say that I've had friends, you know, of people out there go, you know, my friend really needs therapy and you know, they're resistant or something. And they go, well, how can we help them? So I go, well, just sit with them, just be with a good friend. But if you feel like they're getting close to, what's the word I'm looking for, too toxic, or start to create some bad habits with, you know, coping, whether that be drinking or drugs or just withdrawing from the world and being depressed or, you know, even suicidal, it's like just, you know, reach out and buy them a session. And because therefore that person will go, oh, you've done that for me. And they'll feel a little bit more obliged to turn up. because you've paid for it. And that often I've had clients say, if my friend or my family member didn't do that, I wouldn't be here talking. And it helps them get over the edge of going, well, where do I start? And where do I even pick up the phone? Because sometimes when people are in that place, they can't pick up the phone. They can't even reach out. They don't even know how to ask. And in fact, when I was talking about the chemicals about stress, Michael, one of the hidden hormones that most people don't know is there's a hormone called oxytocin, and often we refer to that as the love hormone that you see in relationships or mothers having babies. But oxytocin is a hormone that is naturally created when you're under stress. And what it's designed to do is to help you ask for help. That's it. And we see it in children so beautifully. Children will actually feel stress. And what do? Immediately they'll look at the nearest safe person. They'll put their arms out and say, hug me, hold me, help me.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And sometimes I think we underestimate the power of just these small things that can make such a big difference to someone's life.
Yeah, it's a massive difference. So that's how they could reach out to me. Give me a call, send me a message, go to my website, just help themselves or help somebody else. It's that easy. So did I cover everything that you wanted to, me to help your clients? Oh, I do want to say something, if I may, Michael.
Yes.
I've been doing this for 25 years, and I know you're in financial planning, and I say this with my hand on my heart, is that I've worked with couples, just couples in life and couples in business, and they've been great savers, and they've done a lot of planning and had their kids, but along the way, they haven't looked after their marriage and they haven't looked after their own personal development. And they've got to a point near what we would, the old phrase would be empty nesters, the kids have grown up. And then they suddenly look at each other and go, oh, I don't want to be with you anymore, which then dilutes their financial wealth that they just built.
Yes.
But yet that's the time that they've got so much abundance that they can start to have the holidays, they can start to do the things, and live out their dreams. And enjoy the money that they've gone and accumulated through, the advice of what you've given them. So you're giving them great advice about how to build that nest. And my advice to them is take care of themselves and take care of their marriage. Come back to the basics of why they wanted to build their wealth with you, to have a good life together, And I'm not trying to boost. Well, it's not about not trying to boost your business, but I'm just being really honest here, Michael, that I just see it time and time again, where it dilutes, and there's a lot of sadness at the other end where that doesn't have to be that way. So start now. Love your partner. Take them out for dinner. Go for a walk. Get some sunshine together. Do all these de-stress things together. Families that play together, stay together. Relationships that play together, stay together. It's that simple. It's just stay connected and look after your mental health. And don't have your partner be the excuse why you're not healthy. Be your partner, be a motivator as to be healthy, mind, heart, and spirit. So,
Yeah, no, I love that. Because it's all connected to each other, and I think any health, any aspect of our health is very similar, that if you neglect one area, it sort of affects the other. And it's important to have a balance. Speaking of balance, I like to finish all my episodes off with a dad joke. So I hope you like this one, because I thought, I found something that relates to stress, something that just relates to balance. And I think you'll appreciate it. You're not a dad, but I think you'll appreciate it.
Well, Jeffrey, my husband gives dad jokes all the time. It's like,
great.
So I'm up for it.
Okay, amazing. So tight rope workers, I should say, walkers, tight rope walkers. I can't even say it properly. How do they deal with stress? They just stay balanced.
Boom, boom.
Balance,
I like that. That's
balance. See?
Yes.
And I even integrated it into the segue just then of being balanced. So it's just, I get double points for that, surely.
You do indeed.
Surely.
I love it. Do you mind if I borrow that? Yeah.
Go for it. He can use it. Or you can use it and tell your husband. He'll be proud. But thank you so much for your time, Zoe. Honestly, it really means a lot. And I've been wanting to talk about this topic for so long. So I was so excited when I found the perfect person to talk to about it on this. So I appreciate everything that you do, and I will put your details in the description of this podcast as well, so people can contact you if they just need to find your website. Continue the amazing work.
Thank you. Thanks, Michael. And you too. Continue your amazing work and all the people that you help and make a difference in, because, it's, being you walking the talk of balance, boom, boom, my turn now, helps you be even a better financial planner for them. So you're coming from a good place from your heart rather than a stress place that makes a difference.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks for joining us on Sharing More Than the Sheets. Please make sure you subscribe to be updated with future episode releases, and feel free to share this episode with any friends or family that you think it might benefit. Please visit us at sharingmorethanthesheets.com.au to submit questions or requests for future podcast topics. These podcasts have been brought to you by Better Financial Planning Australia. To book a 15-minute phone chat, visit betterfinancialplanning.com.au.